Take 7. I am trying really hard to narrate this and not sound like Ferris Bueller's teacher. Let's try this again. Thank you so much for tuning into ItsRJTV. My dog knows I'm going live again, so she needs to start barking right on cue. And without any further ado, let's get right into the courses. All right, so this tournament coming up is called the Coastal Classic. This is a hole many of us have seen, but it's been quite a while since it's been in a tournament. I like playing this hole with a power 3 ball in the extra mile. With the wins provided from the last tournament, 3 top-spin and 3 left spin, plus about a 10% adjustment is good for the first shot. I can't keep up talk-wise with how slow I'm playing. I'm sorry. This is an old clip, and I'm just very slow. But the content is good. So, with the 10% adjustment and the 3 top spin, 3 left spin, we will safely hit the fairway and also make sure that we clear the rough. And as you can see, the fairway goes a little bit uphill. Probably could have went with a little more top spin, but we really didn't need to, so why push our luck? As you can see, this is my shots only. So if you don't like playing jumping over the rough, which really from this position it's not a big deal at all, but depending on where you land, the rough could be in the way. If you use a kingmaker or a katana, you can always put full right spin on and move your target further to the left, so you avoid that. I am adjusting the second shot another 10%. And I like to go 2 backspin on this particular shot. Actually, with a sniper, I like to go 2 backspin a lot, simply because it just seems to put a little more control on the ball. Now, keep in mind, if we have a headwind or tailwind, it's going to affect how far the ball rolls. So that'll determine whether or not you're going to put top spin, backspin, or you're going to put the ball guide before the hole or through the hole. Anyway, that's close enough for a putt. Moving on to hole number 2. This is another one that just gave me fits last time we played it in tournament. As you can see, I am going with the kingmaker to knock down the wind just a bit. I probably wouldn't do that today, but back then it made sense. This adjustment is going to be, I believe, 3 backspin because we have the headwind. And also because we're using the extra mile. If you use a quarterback or something like that, then you might have to use a little bit of top spin. But regardless, this is 10% adjustment that I'm making with 1/4, a little, almost 1 full ball right curl, as you could see. And this isn't the best shot. It was the best shot I could find. As you could see, we hit the rough. We did not adjust enough. Again, I'm sorry. I wish I had better footage, but a lot of these holes we haven't played for quite a while. And just like everyone else, I used to really suck. You know, you gotta outgrow that. So with the kingmaker, as you can see, I am putting some right spin on. I'm trying to figure out how to get my ball in there for an eagle, or it would be an eagle shot, but it's just such an uneven putting surface that it's just not possible. Just make sure you steer clear of the rough and the sand. I don't really like my adjustment here either, but again, this is the only footage I have. The ball does the ball does end up getting a little closer than I thought it would, but we can definitely clean that up quite a bit with some right spin and actual wind ring adjustments. Moving on to hole 3, this is my least favorite par 3 and probably my least favorite course in the game. We're playing this with 50%, and as you can see, we're going with about 4 backspin, full left spin, and 1/4 left curl. I want my ball guide to show that it's going to barely be going just beyond the rough down at the bottom there. That's how I'm setting this shot up. Then I'm adjusting for my wind. 50% of 6 is 3, so 6 plus 3 is 9. That is what I adjusted for. This shot also calls for just a little bit of curl. I hit it great, but that's not going to be a big deal. We're not going to get as close as I like to get on par 3s, but in all honesty, if you can get a birdie on this hole, consider yourself lucky. I don't think there's going to be very many hole-in-ones here, and if there is, it's probably going to be luck. Moving on to hole number 4. This is another crazy shot. It's the only one I had. When we were playing this tournament, we had perfect wind for a power hook slice shot. I'm not sure if this is a hook or a slice, but what I'm using is a reference point of those darker rocks at full overpower, and then I'm using maximum overpower, full hook all the way to the left, full curl. But as you could see, I only used about 3 top spin and full left spin, and that brought me here. Probably could have went 4 or 5 top spin, but I'm happy with where I ended up. I am going to show you guys the next shot just because that's not a give me. And with the wind at our back, it just makes it that much easier. Had this been a side wind, we might have run into a few more issues, but I am noticing the little glitching in the ball guide there. What you want to do is take your target and circle it around. Try to find a flat spot to land, because the wind can affect this shot to where it looks like it'll go in with the ball guide, but it doesn't, because it lands in a slightly different position. However, even with a great shot, we were able to get it in because we have a pretty accurate club and we put all that top spin on, so it wasn't in the air very much. Hole number 5 is one of my favorite par 3s. Here I would recommend a backbone, and I would go with a katana if you want to save the kingmaker. Kingmaker will knock down more wind, but a katana will save you a premium ball. So with the backbone and the katana, I'd go with about 3.5 backspin, but full left spin, and of this club being level 10, full left curl. See how much left curl, if you don't have this club upgraded enough, and you because it doesn't come with a whole bunch of curl. As you can see, that's full left curl, so it's only 1 ball. You might have to go with the Goliath. The Goliath will work just fine, no problem. I have seen people sink this, but this is not an easy shot to sink. Once again, a birdie should make you happy here, and that is one of the easier par 3 holes that we ended up with. Now we're going to hole number 6. This is probably the most difficult par 5, and that is simply because we need to get our ball over to that 3rd lily pad of a fairway, whatever you want to call it. I'm not really sure what I'm doing adjustment wise here, because I'm not seeing much adjustments, and that's probably why I had to go through about 7 or 8 shots to find one that actually made it. God, I feel like Bob Uecker on Major League, the way I'm talking about myself playing. But overall, this works, and what this would be is translated into the knowledge that I have today. Even with a tailwind, you're going to want to push back up to max. And I don't see them not giving us a tailwind onto this hole, because otherwise they're just adding another stroke. But as you can see, we completely jumped over the middle one, and we were able to stop before we get to the rough. However, that's not always the case, so you need to be very careful. I did use full topspin on the extra mile. Had I used the Thor's hammer or something that had more topspin, I definitely would have went into the rough there. For our next shot, I just like the sniper. Left side of the green, you'll see by looking at the ball guide, it kind of funnels in towards the hole. I'm not calling it a funnel, but it dips down towards the hole. If you can get that perfectly laid out, you can definitely get the drop here. One mistake I made, and the reason why it didn't go in, is because I did not compensate for the extended ball guide, because the wind is blowing at our backs. So you're going to see this is going to go a little further than what the ball guide showed, and that's because of the tailwind. It does not only affect your drive to the first bounce, it affects how long the bounces are, etc. So moving on to hole number 7. This is a sniper shot, even with a headwind. I believe this could be done with a power 1 ball if it's right around the 8-mile-an-hour mark. Anything more than that, you'll need a power 2 ball. As you can see, when I'm setting up my original shot, I'm not using any extra power on the ball, but after the adjustment, you'll see I get into about power 1 territory. Either way, this is a sniper shot for sure, with a kingmaker just to knock down that wind, and full left spin. I'm using almost one full ball of right curl. That's just entirely too much. I would highly recommend maybe using a quarter ball, and you'll come in a lot closer to the hole. Again, remember 30% over adjustment for that shot. That's a nice easy chip, and I don't even have to show that one going in. Now we're up to hole number 8. This one's tricky just because it's in between clubs, and you don't want to put full topspin here, I don't believe, because I think you can end up rolling into that rough. Now, it's not a horrible deal because you can reach, but I would also bring a rough iron that has a whole bunch of backspin. What is that, the machete or something like that? But as you can see, I made about a 10 ring adjustment here, 3.5 topspin. I am using overpower. I probably could have went with 4.5 to 5 topspin and no overpower. Whatever you're more comfortable with should work for you. And you see we bounce right over, and we do get the ball to stop in a comfortable amount of area. We're not right up against kissing the green, which is what I really like. If you get close enough, you're going to be in between clubs. You're going to be in between the Saturn or the Thorn. Not a big deal, because you're going to want to bring both the Saturn and the Thorn, or whatever club has the absolute most backspin, because as you can see, it's a very narrow green and there's not much fairway around it. It also slopes towards the rough, so we're trying very carefully to get that ball to head back towards the pin. So bouncing beyond the pin and having it come back towards the hole is the safest play. Finally, we have hole number 9. This is uphill, I believe 20%. Someone please correct me in the comments, and after you're done watching the video, take a look at the comments to see if someone did indeed correct me, although we are going to have a few people out there that are just going to throw random numbers up for attention, so make sure it's verified. But with the uphill shot, you'll notice that when I make my adjustment, I still shoot from max. So it's like I'm kind of just moving over and up. So this was a shot at max distance despite having the 7.1 tailwind. And I did use full spin, full side spin, and 4 top spin to be able to get my ball over here. You don't want to go with much more top spin because you could end up in the rough to the left. And you see how far that pin is. There's no club out there that's going to make it. As a matter of fact, my sniper hardly makes it. However, we are able to use the fairway right before where the sand is and just put a little bit of top spin on. Once again, we do have a tricky green. I don't think we're going to have very many drops in this tournament unless they change the green, because it's been so long since we've had a lot of these holes. But overall, I don't see very many spots for drops. Sure, there's a couple. Hole number 1 is a good opportunity. Hole number 2 might be a decent opportunity, but I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. If this video was helpful at all, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and hit that bell notification. Thank you so much for watching.